What's going on, guys? This is Derek Ledwidge, Strive Fitness and Performance. And today I'm going to end up going over the 6 ways to meal prep without spending hours in the kitchen. Meal prep is one of those daunting tasks that people generally dread to do when you're going on a diet, when you're changing your nutrition for fat loss, muscle building, whatever it is. And it's generally because they have this thought process over that it's just going to be this massively daunting task. I'm going to, meal prep for 8 hours on Sunday and just live out of a Tupperware container all week and stuff like that, which is, like what bodybuilders, stereotypical bodybuilders do. And that's just not the case. It really depends on the individual. And there are a couple different ways to make it a little bit more easier, a little bit more efficient. And that is pretty much what we're going to end up going through today. Before I end up going through that, as always, give me a live or a replay on when you are watching this, because I want to. I generally like seeing when people are watching these videos. You can also give me a like if you think at any point that it is helpful for you, or give me a comment or anything like that. I will always see these comments, and I can always reach out and answer any questions you might have on meal prep. So with that being said, the first thing that I'm going to end up going over is you have to simplify the meal prep. So many people, and again, doesn't mean you have to eat the same thing over and over again, but the less variables you have while eating, while changing up your nutrition, the more success you will have. So a lot of times people have to make like these elaborate recipes or something like that. And I'll go over that in another tip. But the more simpler you make your nutrition, the easier and the faster results you will have, because it'll be less variables, right? And so this is usually the first thing that you want to sort of mix and match with. What I mean by this is majority of your meals should have a protein, carb, veggie, and then some of the meals might have a fat source, but definitely the protein, some of the carbs, some of the veggies. If you have that, you can just mix and match them. So maybe now I have quinoa with steak. Maybe I have some protein powder with oatmeal, right? Maybe I have a big salad with a protein source, right? If you sort of pick apart those meals into those different macronutrients and veggies, it becomes a lot easier to simplify your meal plan. So you don't have to do this elaborate thing, right? And later on down the line, it's a lot easier because now your plan can be very, very flexible. So I can go buy some Greek yogurt and put in some raspberries. There's my protein source and carb source. Boom, there's a meal, right? You have all of these different tactics. And if you have that knowledge, you can do this on the fly as well, which is generally what I do because I hate meal prepping. So it just makes it a lot easier. That is usually the go-to. Once you start realizing that and simplifying it, you can go along different ways. Number 2 is planning ahead. People that just, and this doesn't even go with food logging, right? Or being aware or something like that. You don't have to prep every single day or food log every single day. Does it help? Absolutely. But we want to have a plan. What will your meals look like? If you just do random stuff, right, it generally doesn't equal a lot of success. Now, there are some people, some clients of mine, they don't plan ahead, right? They have a general idea. They prep in bulk and they have it there, right? That is completely fine. That is going to be one of the tips later on as well. But you generally have to know whether or not you are doing well with it, right? What is your plan going to be? Okay. If you want bonus points each week, does your plan get better, right? It's not just about planning ahead. It's about making sure you are doing the right stuff. So you should have your go-to plan or your diet. And here's my plan. How close am I to this? How do I adjust it? And so on and so forth. But the biggest thing is you want to be proactive. You don't want to just do it as you go, because just doing random shit does not equal results pretty much in anything. Number 3 is going to be consistent. Okay. You want to go, basically I'll go with the 1, 2, 3 method, right? You want to be as consistent as possible. You want to simplify it. Same thing as number 1, right? So generally, I tell people have the same breakfast, right? Have a complete meal, whatever it is. You don't need breakfast, but again, it's just an example. But have the same breakfast over and over again. People generally don't have a whole lot of time in the morning, so they're not even thinking about being bored with the same shit they're having, right? Lunch, same thing. I usually go with, hey, have two options and mix and match them. But a lot of times you can have the same thing over and over again for lunch, right? This will help you be consistent, and it can also help you to give you a little bit more room to be a little bit more flexible to make those elaborate meals for dinner. Because now you have a lot of headway here because all this other stuff is taken care of, right? Same thing when we're trying to adjust while cooking dinners for families, right? If I have this locked in breakfast and lunch, and I'm killing that one, and I give myself like 800 calories, 700 calories for dinner, I can have a lot of good stuff here while still hitting everything else. All right. So being consistent is massively huge. The more consistent you are, the easier you are to adapt to it. If you're constantly changing stuff up, you just get overwhelmed, and overwhelmed people, overstressed people end up failing in the long run, right? Because now all of a sudden their willpower dies out. Okay. The next one, number 4, is to bulk prep. Find out what you can do for your meal prep, and just bulk everything, right? I'm going to make all of my, or actually it sort of goes along the same lines as the next one. Okay. What do you always need? So 4 and 5s generally go in together, right? We want to bulk prep what we need. So, have a lot of veggies available, right? That might be a lot more time. You want to make it a little bit more efficient. So I'm going to bulk a lot of those. It doesn't take a whole lot of time to do that, but now I have them available, right? Generally having sources of prepping, your protein, having sources in front of you, right? Now you will always have those. If you don't, you're not going to have it, right? So you want to always have some of those go-to meals and bulk prep a lot of those to have them available, right? To go along with that, you pretty much want to be efficient with that. So I'm going to put on my rice because now it's going to take a lot longer to cook the rice while I cook everything else, right? So you start the longest one to prep, and then you can cook the rest of the stuff as you go. And so now it doesn't take, 3 hours. It might take an hour and a half, right, to get everything done. So start with the longest prep. Okay. If you're going all in and prepping a whole lot of stuff, go for the longest stuff, and then do everything else. Okay. That was 4 and 5, bulk prep, and then be more efficient with your time. With that efficient of the time, you could easily go along the same lines of, instead of having 1 day of prep, have 2, right? A lot of times it's Sunday and Wednesday, right, to get you through the rest of the week. You don't necessarily need to do that, but it is helpful. The last thing is one of the most important things, and that is take imperfect action. This goes all along the lines of all of the type of stuff that we talk about for our methods for nutrition coaching, but it is take imperfect action. We are going to get better every single week. Look at each week, look at your plan each week. Was it good enough, right? Where do we have to adjust? Think about it as a puzzle. As the puzzle, you keep on putting different pieces together to form that perfect product. How is your prep good this week? Was it really shitty? How are you going to make it better, right? What did we run out of? Are we bored with this protein? Maybe I want chicken on my salad instead of steak, right? Maybe I want to have a little bit more, maybe I feel like seafood. Maybe I have a whole bunch of shrimp, stuff like that, right? Where can you interchange them? What's getting boring, right? What do we have to change out? Okay. And what are we good at with just riding out? Because I don't really care. Myself, I have Greek yogurt pretty much every single day with raspberries, right? It's a go-to. I end up eating probably about 30 grams of protein with that, maybe even 40. I pretty much have it every single day, and I'm completely fine with that. My breakfast, same thing. A lot of times I have oatmeal. I might interchange it with a couple different protein bars, something like that. But I interchange a lot of that stuff because I know exactly what amount I'm actually having. right? So those are 6 tips to help you out with your meal prep. I would for sure put more money into the simplifying it, planning ahead, and being consistent across the board, right? The simpler, the better. Less variables equal less things that you have, less chances you have to mess up. We want to be more consistent with a lot of the stuff. Once your body adapts to what's going on, that's usually when you get a lot of the different results. And for sure, plan ahead. Everything else is just taking that imperfect action and cutting out some of that time by bulk prepping, and figure out what you always need available for yourself to change that environment. If you thought this was helpful, again, give me a little bit of comment below. Always ask questions as we go through this. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next week.